Zee, I'm so excited to have you. Zee, I would love to hear about what you do, how you got into it, and kind of your story.
Yeah. So thanks for having me. I'm excited. So I work for a catering company in New York City, Union Square Events, and I work from home. I live in Florida now. I've been working for this company for 11 years this past August. Um, I was always into food and catering, but I got into this company from a friend of mine who I used to work with at another catering company. He found it. They needed a schedule in person or booker. He knew that I used to do it where we used to work, and that's how it started. And I
Awesome.
remember when I got this job, I remember telling myself, I got to make this a career. I can't do a job anymore because the current location that I was working at um, was predominantly male. And
Mm,
even though when I was hired, I said I wanted to grow, I knew after a year it wasn't going to happen.
mm.
And so when I got this other job, I was like, this has to be my career. And I made it my career. I mean, I'm not going anywhere unless they don't want me. So yeah, that's it for, and then I have two girls, like you mentioned. I have a 12-year-old and a 3-year-old. Um, Not sure having a kid 9 years apart is the smartest, but so
Yeah,
that has its own issues
I'm sure it
involved.
does.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, was the position that you're doing always remote?
No, so I was hired. I used to live in Jersey. I just would commute into the city. And I think it was probably uh, maybe like 3 years in, I found myself like I was like, I don't want to be in debt anymore. I wanted to, like, we were living in an apartment and I wasn't in love with it. I wanted a home. I wanted something better. And one day I came home and I was like, we got to change some things.
Mm,
And one was that trying to get out of debt, doing Dave Ramsey. And then another thing was that I knew that I was happy living in Charlotte, North Carolina, because I used to live there. I went to high
mhm,
school there, middle school. And one day I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna, like, I remember praying and telling God, like, whatever the definition of happiness is that you have for me, I'll take it,
mm,
regardless of what it is. I'll just take it. And once I started changing that, my mind, and just letting it go and giving it to Him, and He did it, things just started happening. So one
wow.
of the things I knew I wanted to do was I wanted to move to Charlotte. And I just told my company, like, in the summer, I was like, I'm leaving in December. I'm giving you 6 months notice. I want to train someone to love this job like I do. And this is what I'm doing. And I think that I was so good at it that they kind of was like, hold up, let's see if we can do this remote. And there had only been one other person that was remote that lived in Florida, but she was like, I don't know if she was full time. She was kind of like in the accounting HR world, but she was
Mhm.
also older and ready to leave. And so they they were like, what are you going to do in Charlotte? I was like, I have no idea. But I started packing. I just, one day I got home, I said, Mark, my husband, I was like, we're leaving. Started packing one box a day. People thought I was nuts. And I was like, it'll happen. Cause I remembered
Mhm,
my prayer. I was like, it's gonna
mhm.
happen. And it happened. My company was like, let's do this. It's been like, what, 6 years doing remote, working remote.
Wow,
Mm-hmm.
that is amazing. I mean, really taking a huge leap of faith. I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
scary for anybody to leave a job, move states, and not have really a plan,
I had
in
nothing.
place. I mean, it really seems like God blessed you in that,
Yeah.
in trusting Him with the next steps of your
Yeah.
life. That's really
And I
awesome.
yeah, and I definitely knew that I wasn't going to be by myself. I knew that I was not going to be like without a home. I knew I wasn't going to be like, I had friends, I had family, and I
Hmm.
knew that they were going to get me through this. And so it was kind of scary, but it was also exciting.
Hmm.
And just the things that just happened, like, it was just like, wait a minute, what? The company that my husband worked for at the time just happened to have a warehouse or a branch in South Carolina, right on the border.
Mhm.
And it was just like, wait a minute, what? It just all worked out the way it was supposed to.
Wow.
Yeah.
So at that time it was you, Mark, and Mika.
And Mika, yeah, the 12-year-old. So
Mhm.
she was just about to start kindergarten. And that was another thing. I was like, I don't want her to go to school in Jersey. Like this,
Mm.
where we were living, the school district wasn't the best. And I just was like, nah, we're not doing this. And so just happened. And now we're in Florida.
Mhm.
Um, but only because there have been some death in the family and my husband wanted to be closer to his family. And so now we've been here about a little over a year, maybe like a year and a half or so. Yeah.
Florida,
What's
nice and sunny.
nice and sunny with the hurricanes.
Oh gosh, yeah, you guys did make it through the last hurricane.
Yeah. And then also with the pandemic, like we did it, we're catering. So who's having parties? So I was furloughed, and really we sold our house in Charlotte, moved to Florida, was having a house built, but I still wasn't working. And
Mhm.
I remember thinking, I don't think we're gonna get this house if I don't have a job. And
Mhm.
that was another thing that was very like, okay, God, like, do I worry? Do I not? Do I pray harder? Do I just pray once and know that you got me? It was a lot of like how trying to figure out what I felt like, what does God want me to do at this moment? Like,
Right.
and so got hired by another catering, like one of the people that we work with, our one of our like staffing agencies. And so I felt like, oh, good, we have a job. But unfortunately, that didn't work out. It was very different, like a small business versus a big business. I'm used to like a corporate, like a business.
Mm.
And it was very like, what is God trying to tell me? Like, what is he trying to show me? Because I was let go after a month and I was like, what are you trying to show me? And I think then really like 2 weeks after, my old company called me and they were like on a Tuesday and they were like, hey, we need to hire you back. Can you start work Thursday? It was like 2 days later. And I was like,
That's
yeah.
amazing.
But then it was like a different, like I went into working again, even more grateful, even more
Mhm.
like the things that I'm like, every company has problems, but those were like nothing compared to what I saw another company have. And so it was
Mhm.
definitely like, this is good. Like, okay, I'll take it. And, apologize to God for like
Right.
being worried.
Yeah. That waiting
Yeah.
is so difficult though.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, first of all, being furloughed, I think a lot of people can relate to that because the pandemic was a scary time. I was laid off during the pandemic. I mean, a lot of people went through some work changes. Was there anything that you negotiated differently when you got rehired with the same company?
Because I was with the family for about 14 months, that was something that I didn't like say, well, if you hire me, this is different. I just knew going in that I needed to spend more time with the family.
Mhm.
So I knew myself, if the girls needed me to take them somewhere, I was not going to be worried about getting reprimanded at work for it, like
Mhm.
from my boss.
Mhm.
Like if the
Mhm.
girls had a dentist appointment, I would just, hey guys, I'm going to be off for about an hour and a half. And I wasn't going to feel bad about it because I realized how much I didn't spend time with the girls when I was in the pandemic.
Mhm.
I worked a lot of hours and sometimes put my work first before the family. And that break made me realize how much I wasn't there. And so now if they have a volleyball game, guys, I'm off. I'll be back tonight
Mhm.
and I'll make up the work. I don't take advantage of the company for
Mhm.
allowing me to do it. Definitely not. But I do put them first now
Oh yeah.
over the business. Yeah. Mhm.
I definitely feel that a lot of people are reevaluating that work-life balance since the pandemic. You know, we get in this hustle culture mindset and work is the top priority. The demands of work, pleasing work, and what it does is just really, lowers our self-worth in the working
Mhm.
eyes. They kind of look at us and can take advantage of us. And like you said, not that you're, skipping out, you're definitely putting the work in that you need for your company, but having those clear boundaries is important, and just being able to voice that to your boss,
Yeah.
but not having to apologize for taking care of your family.
Yeah. And that's
So,
something that was it. At first it was kind of like, I hope I'll do it. But I'm like, "Ugh." But then I was like, no, it's fine. Like this is, and also it's only a party. It's only an event. Like the things
mm,
that we just saw in the pandemic, there's so many things that are more important that
mm,
if I'm not answering someone's email the minute they send it, it's fine. Like it'll get done, it'll get answered.
mhm,
And I definitely try to like also portray that to the people that work under me. I have someone who has a daughter, and she's also like worries a lot. And I'm like, look, if we're slow right now, take your kid to the park for like an hour. It's fine, because I know that that's appreciated. And then whatever she has to get done
mhm,
is going to get done. And it also helps with the balance. Like, I don't want her to
mhm.
feel like she has to choose one or the other. Like, I want her to know that she can do both equally. So,
Yeah, I think
trying
you
to,
being
yeah.
in a management position, that's awesome that you can portray that to your employees, and
Yeah.
just letting them know, like, I value family time too,
Hmm.
and you
Yeah.
should too. And letting them do that. I think that makes the employee more appreciative of the role. And
Yeah.
like you said, they kind of maybe want to show up more and work harder
Yeah.
more,
Yeah.
because they know that this is a unique situation.
Yeah. I
Very
do hope
cool.
that they appreciate that. Like
Hmm.
they end up like, I'm not gonna screw Z up. Like, like
You're right.
she gave me all these days off, or like told me to leave early. And then when I say, hey, I really need you, they're there. And that's kind of
Mhm.
what I want, so that we all have to take care of each other. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping this is the way to do it. Mhm.
So how does this relate to being at home? You working from home,
Yeah.
you have two
Right.
kids
So
at home. I also work from home,
mhm.
and there's a lot of expectations placed on a mama,
Yeah.
first of all, first and foremost. And then we carry such a huge load as a working mama, full-time job, full-time mom. How do you feel?
Okay. So what helps me is that I have to travel to New York, right? Once a
Mhm,
month, maybe 9, 10 months out of the year. I have to travel, and it's usually for like 5 days. That's helped me because I get to take myself out of the situation and like reset. Not that I am put into a situation that's like, hey, partying, because I have just as much work now when I'm
mhm,
at New York, because now I'm at events and it's just like more work sometimes. So that's helpful. I know some people don't have that opportunity to like take themselves out for 5 days, right? But I feel like I need to encourage people that they should take themselves out for hours if they can, because
mhm,
it's the thing is that I try really hard to portray a very strong woman image. Sometimes
mhm,
I don't feel it, but
mhm,
I need to be this because I want my daughters to know that like women are super, super strong. Like we are like superheroes, and they need to know that they can do it. That there are some days where I'm like, I wake up and I'm like, I don't know if I can do it. Like, and some days, unfortunately, I feel like I'm tapped out. I'm done. Like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to be a mom. I don't want to be a wife. I don't want to be an employee, but I have to try not to make those feelings last long, because I know that I'm never going to be put in a position by God that I can't handle. And so when
mhm,
I feel that way, it's mostly like just like, okay, stop, and just like a prayer and be like, I know you got me. And then I just have to chug along. And then I know that like at the end of the day, everything is always going to work out. Like I never think that I'm going to be left like struggling or like doing something that I'm going to regret. Like, does that
mhm.
make sense? But it's a lot. It's like, trying to rush and do as much as I can while the kids are not here, so that when I do have to get them, or when they do get dropped off, I have to try to like, how do I give the 12-year-old the same attention that I give the 3-year-old? Because it's completely different. Like I have to reset, like, okay, now I'm a 3-year-old. Let me get on the floor and play. okay, now I'm a 12-year-old. I have to like get on the bed and like, just it's a lot. And then also like at night trying to have energy for like your spouse, right? That's another thing.
Mhm.
It's like, so when I get to the moments where I'm like, I can't anymore, that's when I have to like, okay. And I tell them, I'm at to that point. I need a reset. And so it's either like, I'm just very open with them.
Mhm.
I don't try to sugarcoat a lot of things. I'm very like honest. Like, and sometimes it hurts their feelings, like to be
Mhm.
honest. But I always tell my husband, the one person that you should be able to be totally honest with without judgment is your spouse, I think, right? Because that's the person that's closest to you if you have a spouse. And so I always tell him, you have to be able to accept what I really feel, even though it hurts your feelings. And same vice versa. Like, there was a situation where he didn't tell me something that minute. And he told me months later. And it was like, well, why didn't you tell me that what I said was bad or rude? And he was like, well, and I was like, no, you are my husband. You are supposed to be brutally honest with me so that I can fix myself, improve myself. And I can't do that if you're keeping things from me. And so I kind of try to do that with the kids too. Like, hey, I feel like you're being taken advantage of, guys. And this is why I feel this way and whatever. So it's just, I just think communication is the best, even if you're afraid to say something. I know that my 12-year-old, she sends me text messages from her room because she doesn't know how to tell me, but she can text it, right? Because you
Mhm.
can say everything and just click send and you're like, and that's how we start our conversations when it's moments where where she needs to tell me something that's been hurting her or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That transparency is amazing because I think that's really where relationships die,
Hmm.
between husband and wife. It's those feelings that get hurt and you feel like you can't talk anymore. So having those hard conversations at first by saying, hey, tell me, even if it's going to hurt my feelings, I need to
Hmm.
know. We need to be
Yeah.
on the same page with what's going on. And I need to be able to say to you, I'm tapped out,
Yeah.
like, and
Yeah.
it not hurt your feelings. Don't take it personally. I mean, they
Yeah.
might, no matter what, but you have to be able to say that. And I do
Yeah.
feel like that's hugely important. I think being that transparent with your children is amazing because they're going to see real life, right?
Yeah.
Just like you said, you don't sugarcoat it. They need to see that you're human and that you struggle with things
Hmm.
and it's okay to struggle,
Yeah.
right? We're all going to have struggles. I think if you raise your kids thinking that you can handle it all, that's impossible, and it's going to place a huger burden on them growing up,
Yeah.
right? They're going to
Yeah.
think, oh man, I'm a failure because I can't handle it all. And I know those thoughts go through our minds when we feel like we're juggling and something's got to
Hmm.
drop, right? And then we feel like we failed in that area, but that's also not realistic, right?
Yeah.
So I do think like you being able to have those conversations and say, I'm tired, I'm tapped out, I'm doing a lot right now, like I'm sorry, that I
Hmm.
can't be everything to you right now, but this is where I'm at. I think that
Yeah.
is healthy. Is there anything else you feel that you want to portray to your kids as far as living, the purpose of this podcast would be living in your legacy, like teaching them as you live and living your best life? Like, is there
Yeah.
anything that you feel like you're strong in that you exemplify to them about a healthy life or a healthy boundaries?
Would like to think that I'm good at when I see someone just making them happy, like
Mm.
bringing them a lot of joy. When I do go to work, I always like try to plant the seed. Like a lot of people there, I don't think they have relationships with God. I'm not embarrassed about it. So I definitely like, what do you listen to? Oh, I'm listening to, like Christian music. And I'm like, really? Yeah, it's really good. I don't care. Or like if we have lunch, I pray like
Mhm.
in for my food. I don't. And so, and I also try really hard to like bring happiness when I go to work, especially or anywhere where if there's someone new that I don't recognize, hey, who are you? It's like, I feel like that doesn't happen that much. Companies grow and a lot of people are like, oh, I think they're in purchasing or what. I'm like, well, why don't we just ask who they are? Like, and what do they do? And, or if I see someone just like, hey, how's your day? Or like, if I see someone kind of like angry, I'm just going to go in there and just like encourage them. So I always try to just like be as happy as I can, and just like to kind of show that they shouldn't be afraid to like talk. They shouldn't be afraid to like ask questions, or like stop someone and just say how you're doing. And so I don't know, I feel I would love to think that if like when I die, people can say, oh, I really miss her because she was like, she brought happiness, or like she always brought some kind of energy. And so for the girls, if we go somewhere, I'm like, say hi, Mika, go ask, see how they're doing, or like, don't be afraid, ask them, talk to them. Or if we're in a group, like the family, because my husband doesn't really talk, the girls are always shy. I'm just like, hello, like and look, sometimes I could be nervous out of my mind, but I don't think anyone would know that because I don't portray that. Like, I just try to just be like, sometimes I try to be the person that I really want to be, even though it's a little bit scary, like I just that. So I just want everyone to be like happy and not like be bitter. I think I grew up too much with that and too much drama. And I try so hard not to have that in my life. And we're human. Sometimes it just happens, but I try not to linger it. I try to like, all right, let's have this like bitter party for like 5-7 minutes and then we're done. And then we got to find the happiness around it. I don't know. I think I answered, right?
Yeah,
I think that's it.
I love that saying, like, even if you're scared, like you kind of exemplify like a confidence and like a genuine interest in others.
Yeah.
And I would definitely, being your friend now for how many years, would say that you do that very, very well, making somebody feel special and called out. And I think that's definitely something that your kids probably will see in you.
Yeah.
And
I hope so.
and probably will do themselves.
Yeah. I think so. I think they do it a little bit. Scarlett, the 3-year-old,
right?
She does it more than Mika, but I think if they just continue to see it, they'll do it. They'll do it. Yeah.
Mika's definitely going through that middle school phase where probably life is going to be difficult. So
man, that's a tough one. And I got to do it all again. Like,
yeah. Oh gosh, starting over, kind of.
No, gosh.
I have 2 random questions for you.
Yeah, sure.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Ooh, 5 years. It's funny you say that. I turned 40 in July, and I had everyone write down where they saw me in 10 years. And I put all the notes in a box because when I was 30, I did the same thing and I read them when I turned 40.
Wow.
So it was interesting what they saw. In 5 years, I still see myself working for the same company. I see myself, my title is a senior staffing manager. I don't know what's above that, but I do see myself above it with a bigger team, definitely more confident in that area than I am now. I'm getting better at just letting people hear that I kind of know a little bit about what I'm doing, and to like, I need to respect that I know this part of the business. I do see myself in a better position with my husband, like relationship wise. I think we're doing much better because we just like are just honest with each other, like more than before. Him actually more to me, because it's always me to him, but now he's talking more. I do still see myself here in Florida. And just, we're happy, but I think we'll probably even be more happier. I don't see anything but good, like in the future. Yeah.
Zee, so lovely to talk to you. I miss you. Thank you for being on the podcast. And
yeah, you're welcome.
Any last thoughts in our last minute together?
No, I just hope that whatever I said, it encourages someone to do the same thing. Just be positive. Just don't be afraid. Just speak what you want. And what could you lose? Like, just give it a chance, trust God, man. He's good. Just got to trust him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Also,
much.
yeah.